sides of the wall. Liquid Die is holding up high. He's got Zeke. Oh, this guy is just absolutely unbelievable here for Acend.
The shot out of Defo. Defo keeps on fragging as they come around the corner. They're not expecting him to still there. And he's going to get all 5.
Wow, an entire year worth of blood, sweat, and tears has led to this moment, guys. One of these teams will be making history today by lifting the trophy as the first ever winners of VALORANT champions. They're going to go down in history book, guys. Nobody's ever going to forget whichever team wins today.
God, that trophy is so epic. I can't wait to see it.
Don't take it away.
Yeah, don't take
Bring it back.
Oh, man, what an epic intro.
I saw them pull it out of the case. It was like buffed with all this like bubble wrap and soft kind of stuff, and he pulls it out. And as he pulls it out like a baby, he caressed it. And I was like, how heavy is it? And he goes, it is heavy as heck. So whoever picks it up at the end, they got to be ready to be able to hoist that heavy thing.
I also want to say that I don't think I've ever seen a grand finals of any esports tournament where the two IGLs come out hugging arm in arm like they're best friends walking down the park or something. But it goes to show, you know, how much camaraderie and respect they have for each other.
I can't imagine that they are coming in underestimating each other at all.
No.
What they've seen throughout each other's play, what this means to them, a year's long worth of work going into these games, they're leaving nothing to chance.
Friends out of the server, Yansu.
Yes!
Absolute enemies in the server.
I don't think they'll leave anything at the front door, that's for sure. They want this. Both of them want this. And I think they gave the warning that what they went through in the semi-finals is not what they should expect in the grand finals.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to see any dance routines on the side of Stark, so as well to see what he's going to bring out today. A lot of sheeshes we're hearing behind us. But let's talk about the first map because we are heading into the Prime Gaming Agent Select. It's unlikely, Sean, that either teams are going to switch things up after the success they've had here.
No, yeah, I don't think we're going to see any surprises here in the finals unless we get it from Acend. Gambit, like I said earlier, they didn't have much time to change things. So yeah, we're seeing the tribe.
Oh, okay. We are seeing something different. Chronicle is back on the Killjoy. He was playing the Sky for the last two breezes here, and now he has said already publicly he prefers to play Killjoy here.
That's very interesting because he's had so much success in this initiator role, the top performer on the team and the only player on Gambit in the top 10 in ACS.
You know what this does really well? One, Acend, I've already, you know, praised them for having really good analysts and counter strategies. One, that throws a wrench in it. Number two, Chronicle is in the zone. This sets a precedent for a map that we won't expect because Acend will have prepped for something completely different here.
Being able to bring out something new here, I think it trends for Acend to be like, yeah, we're not going to focus on what our team's playing because that's what can happen, right? You don't want to be thrown for a loop if you're expecting a Cypher or something to be in that position all the time. So I love the fact that Gambit can pull that out, and maybe it will throw Acend for a loop.
And meanwhile, on Acend, the tried and true, right? Zeke locking in that KO, and I mentioned he was banging all tournament with KO. Going into the semis, guys, he was the #1 player in assists. That means his KO was through the roof. He was suppressing everyone. His timings with the 0 point have been so good. The pre-0 points over elbow on
And it's
Breeze.
something they've brought in since Masters 3.
Yeah. this is a new look.
Yeah, I wonder if this is done specifically to counter that KO. Who knows? But before we jump into game, I need to know the final prediction from you guys. Who are you backing to win this series? Jess has the curse right now, so I'll start with you.
Oh no. And the reason I've gone with this prediction is because I love both of these teams. I love all the players, but I really think the support staff is behind Acend right now, all the counter strategies. As an ex-analyst and coach myself, I got to throw my hats to them, so I'm going with Acend. You guys, let's see if the work has gone through today.
Wow, Riv?
Looking at how far they've come, what they've been able to put together, the strength in this tournament, they may not have played as many rounds as Gambit so far, but I am locking in Acend for this one.
Ooh.
Rise, Acend, rise! A little bit more breakthrough. Any other ceilings that you hit?
This side of the desk?
Let's see what you got.
Yes.
Sean?
Yeah. I hate to do this because I think the game is so 50-50, but Acend are my dark horse coming into this tournament, and man, have they lived up to my expectations. I'm sticking with Acend.
Let's go!
I think they're taking this series, but this is the only opponent that will test them, right?
Okay.
Liquid didn't keep the maps close,
No.
so Acend didn't even have the option to choke. Gambit will not have that same thing happen
Serious
to them.
firepower.
And Gambit doesn't choke either. God, this was such a difficult decision for me.
Yeah, same.
I mean, looking at the 5 maps, do we feel like this is the first grand final where we're going to actually go to 5 maps?
I think it's so possible. It's
Yeah.
very,
Especially
very
with
likely.
what we're seeing here. If both teams come in not with their favorites and they have to push into these 50-50 maps that both teams will have an attack side or a defensive advantage on, you definitely see 5.
Well, the desk are very Acend heavy here. Turkey are going to love you guys for that. But it's time for us to jump into Breeze with your casters for today. It's Pansy and Hypog.
Okay, we are being presented with such a treat in front of us. Now, I have to put it quite bluntly here. We've seen a great deal of Gambit. They've had to show a good amount of depth throughout this event. Acend have been toiling away in the shadows. Not many people paying mind to them as they rightly should have been. Where do you stand?
It's really interesting, and again, seeing the journey Acend have had, this is almost kind of the second coming of Acend, right? We had that almost dip, you could call it, throughout the mid-year, and Gambit obviously rose towards the end of the year here, but in terms of the stylistic kind of matchup here, Acend have actually fixed some of the issues you'd have with a concern coming into this matchup, particularly against Gambit.
Well, deep breaths, everyone. We are 10 seconds away from starting up here. And again, we've talked about the art of greatness throughout this entire event, time and time again. And remember, great moments are born from great opportunity that these both now have. Gambit on the attacking side, Acend on the defending side. And we're right into this.
Oh, yeah, actually, the Trailblazer straight up elbow. If I'm trying to follow it up here. Michael just sitting tight in nest right now, but it's a heavy lean towards B's site here on the side of Acend. I'm not actually going to be able to avoid this owl drone here, but I see that's just going to take first contact. Deals with Defo immediately.
Yeah, a little bit of a return fire from Shados, but it's quick and it's Acend really sending a stark message to begin with. 2 quick kills and you lose out on Defo and Shados. 2 big instigators on this attacking side. So now looking at what's left, Nats, Redgar, Chronicle. A tough predicament to be presented with, and now a last-minute Aileen. Now the spike is on the way. You can see Nats slowly closing in towards Killers. Killers better be aware that he's not so safe, and you can see that paranoia starting to build.
Nats tagged up a little bit, actually going to get a confirmation here, but also going to hear out these steps in spawn. We have to relay that information, so Nats got a lot to deal with here. If they swing together, he's going to get detected here as well.
Yeah, he's going to be noted pretty quickly. Redgar's gone down. Nats is only good for 1. It's on Chronicle now in a 1v4, and it's gone quickly. Acend, hey, let's talk about this now. That's 4 standing, that's confidence building. This is a perfect beginning in map 1.
And again, we're coasting through that. The perfect setup again, anticipating Gambit showing a little presence towards B, and actually the pistol round in particular, but potentially towards the side of the top, which is always important. Again, on Breeze, you've got to consider that rotation factor, and again, now it's going to give them the opportunity to, I guess on some of these buy rounds, explore mid, maybe get a little bit aggressive, stop Gambit in their tracks, but again, just looking clean. It's almost like they're completely anticipating that hit, and they were set up perfectly for it.
Now, when you see Breeze, though, and you see Acend, my mind goes, funny enough, to 100 Thieves. Right? Is it just me?
I'm glad we've got there so early, because that's, again, probably the biggest stumble throughout the year.
It's a quarterfinal, I believe, in Berlin last time around, where everyone suddenly went, oh, wait.
Should have been a 9-3.
Should have.
It was an 8-4, and then 100 Thieves, oh, we all know how that one ended. Again, one of the craziest comebacks I think we've seen.
Absolutely. But this has to then echo a little bit of something for Acend. There has to be that little bit of worry in the mind, but with every single frag that comes in for them right now, it's looking clean. But there's a crunch coming in through towards that B side. Starzo's just fine, though. He can fall back, hopefully wait for some support. There are 3 players looking for angles, and he's finding every single answer to them so far. That's with a good shot, but it's a 1v3, and it's not looking so likely. Caught in the heels and put to bed by cned. It's 2 on the board, and Acend keep 3 alive.
We'll carry some of that momentum across, some early progress towards the Viper's Pit. Starzo. See what they can get done here. And again, this is another opportunity where potentially Acend now can quick Gambit ahead of a site hit. And Viper will actually invested pretty early on here. Well, that's going to be an indicator. We can see the setup here. The 4-man lean towards A. And Body's in position again, and look towards Zeke here in a pivotal position, holding onto the stairs here to make sure that Nats once again can't lean deep into halls. Again, actually, it's looking like they might walk it as
See
2
in the
here.
walk. Yep. Now Defo's battle will rage on as long as Bone Cold doesn't overextend. Let's see if there's impact elsewhere. It's going to be put into a tough scenario, having to deal with this push coming up tube. 2 players going to turn the screws on it. Nats doing Nats thing, says hello. Starzo, you going to try and play Viper against me? That's crazy. For now, though, Gambit are doing well. They're keeping the rifles in the right place, and they're not really falling foul to any of these little bits of trickery. Now, yes, maybe cned with a rifle could find a bit of work here. Spike is down, though,
Last player
and
standing.
Bone Cold gets caught. So now cned left in a bit of a spot of bother.
He's a little tagged up, so I don't know, he's going to look to do some damage. Shados has got himself tucked all the way into defender's spawn. The other 3 members of Gambit, no danger as of yet. Again, just look at that. It's something that we see Nats become more and more comfortable doing, right? It's the walk up, it's the pick up. Yeah, actually missing on the first. Shados will clean it up. But again, Nats is, again, it's so brazen, right? It's almost like that pressure comes through on halls. It's noted by Bone Cold. I'm pretty sure he's comfortable in calling 2 out there with Trailblazer as well. And Nats just walks up, literally walks up. And Green Starzo on default, it is not really an awful lot in terms of setup there that Acend changed, other than playing a little deeper, right? They give up sight and potentially, I guess, regress towards double doors, try and retake that space on halls, but... And here's cned now on the operator. And early, actually, round 4 here.
Revealing area.
Off to a good start, though, for himself, so why not? But let's see what the adjustment, if there is one, coming out from Gambit, if they consider this a possibility. But already going to give away somewhat of the game, trying to play it through elbow, but Shados gets a freebie. Bone Cold going to be livid with that. Shadows going to try and power forward. Yeah, oh, he almost caught Keyless as well. Finest of margins here, but they actually peel away from this.
Feel a bit of pressure, and actually you can see here Chronicles found some space towards double doors. You're absolutely right, Lauren.
I wonder if audio cues have been heard, maybe even spotting Starzo, maybe not, maybe just the intuition kicking in, but he has to facilitate this somewhat, and timing is on his side. They've just about spotted each other. Utility goes down, I think, towards either site or main, so they're aware the hit's going to be leaning this way. They can leave cned lingering towards that B site, as now Chronicles starts to build through. Lovely work from him. Good spray, no connect, but it's Redguard to find it. So now the site should at least be available enough, and Chronicle will overextend.
The tricky spot here. Hunter's Fury actually going to get sent through from Redguard. He actually found a tag inside back at halls. He did. Keyless will fall. Just Zeke and cned to try and recover this now.
I don't see Gambit getting overzealous. I don't think they're going to overpeak on this. I think they're going to sit real keen, play this smart, and not give away any opportunities. Just a little jump peek, that's enough. Just to reassure. Positioning! What? Zeke! 2 kills out of nowhere, and suddenly this round becomes a little bit more viable, but time is the biggest problem! Oh my word, Zeke! Is this when you're going to step up and deliver? But it's going to be Chronicle. The bottom line, Zeke! The timing! I don't think he's going to have the time. Surely! Surely! Oh my god! Zeke has just destroyed them!
That was absolutely insane from Zeke. Landing absolutely everything.
Gambit were halfway out the door.
They were.
Gambit were like, we're fine. We're absolutely fine. And then this happens.
Oh my god. I can't believe, again, like you said, Chronicles, look at this on the X-Ray. Chronicles like, yeah, surely they've not got away back on site. Zeke actually got off the defuse there before the half. Again, at that point you think, well, yeah, if you don't get the half there, it's done for. What an insane round from Zeke. And again, Sean touched on this. He's looked so comfortable on this KO. There's almost like a late round component for Acend, which is something previously lacking, right? It was all about that initial aggression for Acend.
And look, how many times have we told the story of cned and Starzo and a couple of the other players, and Zeke was this hot prospect who got picked up and we were waiting to see if he could activate, find that role, and he's found more than that already. And you've got to say, losing a 2v, what, 4, 5 almost there? That's going to be a tilter for Gambit. Let's see if they can keep that known composure, but Zeke ain't stopping. He's right back at it. Just straight on to Chronicle. He's feeling this game. He's got that hot hand where everything makes sense, but a quick piece in towards the B site. Now, we already know there's one player here. Killers does find one, and Defo's none the wiser. He's gone away with murder from this corner. A free little upgrade as well, leaving Nats and Redgar with nothing to do but die, surely. Yeah, Nats is on one side of the map, but look what the spike is.
And unretrievable now. You can see already the body's in place. 4 people here to hold on to it. And again, just Zeke comes through, throws the fragment in, deals with the lockdown. That protects the Viper's pit set up towards A main, forces Gambit's hand in terms of this rotation. They get punished for it. Really nice crossfire from Bone Cold and Keyless. cned. We'll find Redgar. Nats, the last one to come. 20 seconds, a 1v4.
Well, Zeke's shown that there's possibilities, but I think that Nats knows with that Spike's positioning, they're going to swarm that. Unretrievable. And Acend.
10 seconds left.
You couldn't ask for a
Looking
better
fiery.
start.
Fiery.
Let's roll it back, right? Let's talk bigger picture now, because I think Gambit we've looked at considerably, and no matter the scenario, there's always a chance with them, right? They are one of the true tested teams who consistently find that ability to run it back into the game, no matter the scoreline. Acend, I'm still unsure if they can do that grind back, but do they have to?
The problem being, I think, throughout this year, you've looked at Acend and thought, yeah, very fast and loose again. How much can they replicate that in terms of, you know, teams that don't match up? And Gambit, I think, is actually one of those examples you say they play so slow that it could cause a lot of problems for Acend, right? But they burn out very quickly in the early round. But one of the things Acend have really tightened up is their late round, their audible calling. And again, it comes back to Zeke in terms of this utility cycle, and he's such a huge factor in that regard.
Well, it'll be Zeke and Killers. Oh, towards the B site. No early note of player, but speaking of them towards the B side, I've got to look towards those double doors. Push out comes in from Acend, takes a little bit of an early battle, but don't overcommit, fall away. Now utility gets noted and the push looks like it's coming in. It's a bit of a shaky buy. Nat's the only one really with a rifle, and Killers still just keeps away. How is he not getting noted at this point? So many rounds he's getting away from these dirty little angles. Ult comes in and Killers sends it right back. That's his site and you are not getting into it. Spike once again down behind enemy lines. Over a minute on the board. Where do they find any avenue in here?
Again, that's the Spectre and the rifle removed from Gambit. Spike again on site. The one thing actually Gambit had going for them there is getting onto site, finding that Viper's pit, but Keyless aggressively pushes in. He was that before it becomes a problem. Zeke will find another. Shados, the last man standing, Sheriff in hand. Again, at this point, don't even discuss the economy. It's not a massive dent, even if he finds 1 or 2 here. But again, that's when it's scariest, right? Acend, if they can dig their heels in, they look so comfortable when they're set up to greet any team. Once they hit that site, again, the way they play crossfires, they bait each other into these awkward little angles, and it just looks so comfortable for them.
I feel like we saw that in the semi-final to get here.
You know, it was so apparent versus Liquid, because Liquid wanted to play so, they wanted to play, and again, every single time, Acend looked dominant in the late round. Shados would actually find 2.
And I do want to remind people, like, let's say you've only just really started paying attention to Valorant and you've seen this rise of Gambit. There was a king before them. There was another team in EMEA that was constantly towards the top that beat Heretics at the start, and it was Acend. And these guys somewhat fell into the shadows, I'd say, during that quarterfinal loss, couple of underperformances. But now we've seen this rekindling of that fire.
Well, the big thing was, and I think you look at previously, and it was underwhelming. From what we knew regionally of Acend, and we saw the peaks, right? We saw the ceiling for this team, and translating that is always difficult. Again, experience is something you have to consider. I know in that 100 Thieves matchup, the number of times.
How often can we say it?
Yeah, the number of times we're thinking high pressure scenario, Acend actually fumbled a massive lead there, and actually getting to match point, I think having 5 opportunities to close that out. And those are the things that do become very concerning. Now, this time around, it's a completely different monster. Like they
This
have
is night and day.
Yeah, exactly.
And hey, this is a marathon, this isn't a sprint. It's best of 5 times, so it's a longer series. I don't want to ever just lean away from Gambit. That's stupid.
Well, this is the thing. Later in the series, you lean back towards favoring Gambit.
Yes,
Again,
you
they're
do.
not the ones that choke. They pull off these mammoth comebacks. And again, you talk about a comeback versus Acend. If they don't start strong and set themselves up for success, that's when Acend looks shakiest. And it's not necessarily even a cned factor, right? We've talked about other series where cned's, I guess, on paper, not delivered. And you always think about, oh, cned will drop 30. Give him an up in round 3.
Sure.
It's all good. But that's when the concerns start building, because Gambit, they never give up.
No,
And
they are relentless.
They come back in with thrifty rounds when they're like 7 rounds down, and that's the one that turns an entire map.
We can get into that if it becomes apparent, because you talk about in-game leadership, you talk about the coaching element. There's a lot of factors beyond just the players on the screen right now. But at 5-1, Acend are sending a rather poignant statement. Already Seeker's going to come out, though, so Gambit are not wasting any time here. A quick mid-piece. Looks like they want to set the tone.
What?
And cned just doesn't like the song they're singing. Already with a connection towards Shados. It's put it down to Nats, Redgar, and Defo. But look at the space. They've garnered a fair amount here. But already Zeke seems hyper-cognizant of it. He's already watching this push through.
And again, cned's picked up a different angle altogether. Defo's looking to close the distance here onto cned in particular. But see actually the spike making its way back over towards A. Still 2 players on the side of Acend to greet this A main push if it does come.
And they still haven't cleared or noted Bone Cold. He's going to sit there
They
quietly.
have to re-explore, exactly. It's there's so many like dirty little angles they can find. Nat's actually going to get found with the spike inside. Hauls that one.
Oh no, the opportunity might have just slipped through his fingers. He keeps control of it for now. Defo does well to get away with that. That was actually looking very one-sided, but now down to the 3v2. Redgar and Defo still trying to find that spike and build it back through. They're trying to isolate Starzo, who's on the stairs. That could be a catch-off, and it is. Good pick from Redgar there, but look who's been waiting the entire time. He kept calm under pressure. Bone Cold being ice cold, and there is cned. Starts around, ends around, and we carry on. Acend keep powering forward.
Again, it's almost like it's just coming down to 1 or 2 aim fights here, and Gamma unfortunately can't get the response that would convert into sight control, into something like that. Again, we've seen so much variation on the right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just
Must be nice.
run that one another 3 times if possible.
He's quite good at this game, isn't he?
Yeah.
And
Well, if that's the cned we get today, again, we come back to concerns, right?
We do.
There's a lot of pressure on a player that's come under a bit of flack, and it's
Absolutely.
Defo, right? It's the opposite number.
And I will be the first to say Defo on LAN looks completely different to how he does online sometimes. But he does now need to find it against a superstar. cned is a superstar in this game, and Defo, I need to see a little bit of that jet magic coming from him. But the site, a very patient hold, a very deep hold. Starzo sitting back by Tribox. They've got a very deep post-plant positioning potentially, or maybe with that Hunter's Fury, they feel like they want to lean towards that a little more. But Defo's going exploring, and he finds nothing that he wanted. Starzo still holding a good amount of territory. There's that ult coming in as considered. Doesn't get everything, but Starzo does. Acend looks so polished. Nats, you've got a 1v5 and a Spectre. How lucky you're feeling. The diffuser's already come in. I don't think you can do anything about this one. Acend are looking like a different beast right now. Everything is going their way.
It is. And again, Nats has shown a presence a couple of times in Hall's there. He's looking to be kind of a late round piece, but setting up, playing distance, it almost looks awkward there. Defo, I think, oversteps the mark slightly, but he's desperate to find that open. He's desperate to try and weaken this hold that Acend have on A site. Starzo just swings through here.
And can we just highlight for a moment, they've just made that look easy against Gambit. And no one makes anything look easy against Gambit.
They literally strolled back onto site there.
And they seem so hyper-aware that that was the way they wanted to play it. You already had Starzo back at Tribox, sitting super passive, patiently playing off the back of the ult. And we've seen this mid-piece before, but they're being a little bit more patient with it this time. Maybe a little bit of a different look, maybe an adjustment from Gambit. Rifles back out, Defo on the op. Money is there.
Trade-off of information here from the Owl drones. Again, going to try and avoid this spam as best he can. Lots being invested to try and clear him out here, actually. He'll be able to slip back through. Spike not committed this time, so expecting Gambit to just solely try and work a pick here. That sort of slow default we've come to expect.
Yeah, that poised nature. coming out from Gambit. But does this...
This is where Acend have got great. They taking this space now. Again, now the rotation comes through
Towards
from
A
Chronicle.
main, yes.
The alarm bot's removed. The turret's still there. Whether or not it's actually going to spot anything. Just wait and see. It gets dealt with here. So Gambit now...
They have to commit, surely.
They have to. They have
Doubling
to.
back on,
rotation's already coming.
on 30 seconds, you can't do anything about it. So now keep your eye towards the likes of Zeke, who sat towards the corner here. Still has flashes. Killers can't watch his cross anymore, so he's a little isolated. But Killers has got a feeling someone's close by. And he's not wrong, and he still gets a surprise on one. Great trade from Defo. Great clear from Defo. How's he found this little bit of momentum? Nats pushes forward, secures CT. Bone Cold from the backside does at least get one, but now it's down to two. cned and Bone Cold spike. Yet to go down. Where is this? Hold on, 5 seconds. cned just has to live. Nats, can you find the final player? Bone Cold's out of there. That's the worst game of hide and seek Nats has ever played.
Again, in a round like that, Gambit have all the indicators of what's going to happen, and when I think actually the turret is dealt with by Defo, he has to deal with that so that the information's not given over, and still, they're too slow to react
Defo
here.
doing this?
Yeah.
Look at this. This shot. The site's yours. You've got to feel that's our first big chance. You know, where's the spike plant from this? How are they still able to deny so much space?
It comes back. Again, Acend have tightened up loads of these scenarios where in a late round, you know, they just get bombarded, overwhelmed on sites, but being proactive towards Cave and towards Shop, they're clearing that space. They have the information early enough.
Look at the pace change.
To send an extra.
Hold on, they're just going to be hammering the nails into the coffin. Bone Cold with a good start. Nats did at least quell Zeke, but it was an effective trade. Bone Cold's not stopping either. He's seen everything now. He's got so much information to play with. He doesn't have to be worried about this. Redgar can't do much about it. He can maybe stay alive a second longer, but then look at Starzo. Again, propping himself up, super close contact on that A-site piece if they fancy it. But putting a lot of faith right now in Killers, considering that cned's hit that rotation. On the ladder, Bone Cold, that's 3. Finally handled by Redgar. But a 2v3, where'd you take this?
It will swing back up here. Might even...
Oh, no.
Oh, no, a little bit
He's
of a
had a
fat
nightmare.
finger there.
He's had a nightmare. Look, it's finals, all right? We're all nervous. We saw nothing. We'll move on. Yeah, it's fine. And hello, that's another pixel out of place. So again, these fact-finding missions that Ascendant wanted to go on are interesting, but as Killers read this rotation, it's kind of ring-a-ring-a-rosy, right? So you're going to have a really weird position from Starzo, and it looks like they've almost flipped sides. Now the ult comes in, so at least should facilitate the point. Oh, he has no idea. Right underneath him, death from above. Gonna find Chronicle, deny the lockdown, invest the ult, and now looks towards the final player. Redgar, what do you have for us? You've been impeccable this event, but you've got to find something here. Give me a reason to believe, because at the moment I'm really not on board. Starzo the first to fall, and now the 1v1, it's Killers! He's just the back line to so many of these rounds.
He really is. And again, you talk about the start of the year. Killers obviously doing the rounds in terms of agents now coming to his own in this role. And he's bailed to send out so many times in terms of lurking, in terms of being the last alive.
So what do Gambit need to do here? I'm posing you a horrible question, but theory craft me something, please, because it's 9-1.
Again, at this point, I don't think really Ascend are feeling any pressure. We talk back again to the variation. Some of these setups is drifting one player kind of being the anomaly. Gambit right now, in terms of information gathering, the early round's just not going their way. They're not finding kind of any space to exploit, anything that will give them any opportunity to convert towards site control, like I'd already said. Gambit playing that's, I got to say, a little too passively in terms of the expectations of what Ascend are going to try and achieve.
I'm seeing cned going walkabouts.
Yeah, early round. Again, they're getting so much info off this, Lauren.
Now there is a bit of a response in that tube pressure that's coming in. But cned is feeling confident. He has the line of sight. And he is just having the run of things here. Bone Cold as well gets a challenge, but gets overwhelmed. Gambit with the 2 players coming through. Zeke with the underhand flash. It's good, but it's not great. Gambit finally getting the frags they need. The pace looking much better. More deliberate in approaches now. It's just Starzo.
Toxin screen down.
Say just Starzo. See what he can get done. Spike's being safely carried across towards the B side, taken away from his last known position. And he looks for a mistake. A foot out of place, an overpeak. Be your first challenge if you went CT would have been Nats. Not an easy target to try and displace. And there's the spike plant.
Spike planted.
You got a very, very deep setup here as well. Gambit to make absolutely sure they drag this one across the line. Not as far as I can find any damage here. Just considering just saving this out, but again, coming back to that, with Chronicle, again, I know talking about comfort picks and whatnot, not feeling comfortable on the sky, but right here you see, as soon as cned drifts into elbow there, they spot the turret, and it's almost like that rotation comes through straight away. You see Zeke and Keyless both making their way back through spawn. They read it perfectly. Gambit are almost kind of giving away exactly what they want to try and achieve in the early round, and Acend time and time again, and just sending one body. Like I said, it's so hard to deal with, especially with these players that are in rotation, are catching a member of Gambit here and there. This,
lovely.
I think, just comes down to a couple of gunfights that Gambit are granted. And almost, you don't want to say that sloppy on the side of Acend, but if they're not given that, I feel like Acend still have a good read on exactly where Gambit are positioned.
Let me go again. cned, the aggression isn't going to be just once, it's going to be followed up on. He's taking space in middle, and he's not alone. He's got 2 players behind him, 3 if you want to throw in Zeke to that equation. And look at Gambit, super deep in this approach, taking space towards A, but everyone else holding that mid presence. Nat's going to invest the ult. Now Starzo knows that he's going to be really on a platter here. Tricky for him to survive. Can he do anything with it? The answer, pretty resoundingly, is no. Gambit with a really nice approach. There's the adjustment from Gambit we were waiting for. It took a little time, but it ain't over yet. cned and Killer still here. He just seen everything. He just sent it in. He gets red guard, but Defo deals with Killers, and it's going to be 9-3.
And again, much more decisive. You can see right there's a plan almost from Gambit, and the first few kind of points on the checklist, it's within the first 15 to 20 seconds there. And they don't resort back to that slow default. There's no kind of progressive movement through the map here. And a much better, again, with how that played out, I think that's probably the best possible scenario in terms of the last round of that half. Let's not look at the scoreline so much. That's probably the best thing for Gambit.
It's given them a window of opportunity, maybe a little bit of rekindling of the faith that every comeback is possible for them, but 9-3 is a pretty stark contrast. Guys on the desk, what are your thoughts on the scoreline so far?
Thank you very much. Guys, imagine coming into the grand finals with this much confidence, Sean. A 9-3 start for Acend.
Yeah, and the way they did it, they're treating Gambit like TL right now.
They are.
All of these rounds that shouldn't go their way are going their way.
And this is so reminiscent of the split match. You have these rounds where Ascend's winning, and then one quick round goes the other way, and then like, no, we'll take almost the rest. Thank you very much. Everybody's stepping up. Keyless for me has just been such a big player from one tournament to the next. I thought he was a weak point for the team, but oh my word. And then you have guys like cned just tearing the rest of the map apart.
He's hit some good op shots as well. Let us not forget, he's taken some forward aggressive positions that have been able to net him an opening kill. That has opened sights wide open for them, been able to crush some of the strategies of their opponents so far. So getting into halftime and him being able to sort of lurk into these positions, and of course Bone Cold around the side. I mean, everyone is firing on all cylinders now for Acend, and I'm sitting pretty, but you can't always count Gambit out.
Surely we have to talk about Zeke a little bit after that clutch.
I mean,
Come on,
round
that 2-1-4 was insane. 0.22 seconds on the clock. And then the next round, he breaks the Killjoy lockdown with his molly, gets that kill. Oh my gosh.
The one round they win, we're sitting there, Sean and I are sitting there, I was like, wait, they have an up, or they must save this. Zeke, boom, 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 and the round's over, and you're like, oh, maybe they don't save.
Yeah.
That's the Acend pace right now.
I mean, similarly, a slow start for Gambit. We're used to seeing this as well, Jess. They've had a slow start a couple of maps, so not a bit too early to be worried.
Out of any team in the playoffs that could have a slow start, and I wouldn't be too worried about, it is Gambit. I don't fear too much, so I will give them an opportunity, but 9-3, that is a big round diff, so they're going to have to bring it back.
Well, they've come back from worse before. Let's go back into the second half and let's see what they can do, Pansy and Hypok.
Yeah, the challenge is certainly now with Gambit to try and reinvent a little bit of what they want to bring into this, but it's hard to imagine a world where a couple of these pop-off rounds won't fall in with Acend, but we wait and see, right? That's the beauty of coming into these games. That scoreline does make me nervous sometimes, right? A 9-3, we've seen it before.
Acend holding on to a lead on Breeze.
Oh, don't. Why have you done that? Why have you done that? Okay, all right. And I've got to highlight once again, man, Zeke is such a standout to me as of late. And Defo going to be dealt with. Can he be shut down in time? No, he still gets to fall away, but they're going to try and springboard off the back of this. Keep that pace high. Beautiful flash through, completely blind. Still got one on the way down. Defo going to be dragging them down to the grave, and 4 standing for Gambit. This is a shutdown. Acend came in with a bit of a game plan, but it looks like it's been dealt with on all fronts.
Again, the setup is so good to greet this B hit. Almost mimicking Chronicle.
Stunner.
Actually, we'll find the third there. A strong start for Gambit. Again, decisive of both sides, actually. See straight away Acend as soon as that barrier drops. Swing through. Now, let's see. The one thing I'm looking for here, is particularly in these first kind of 2 or 3 rounds from Acend, it's just the pace, right? In terms of what Gambit showed, again, no real surprises. Lots of those rounds were slow, defaulty, trying to work off information that Acend just weren't giving to them. Gambit going to have their head on a swivel to deal with Acend on the attack. So, get curious once again. Keyless there to greet him. He's actually walking out here. Yeah, we'll actually find Bone Cold.
This is nice from Gambit. A quick reply is what they need. Get themselves back on track to what they believe the scoreline should be, and this is the perfect way to do it. See if they can keep all 5 alive. Shadows got himself tucked in the corner now. Killers isn't considering it yet, but not exactly in danger either. The Spike still just leaning around that A side of the map, looking to see if they can catch anyone over-pushing, over-aggressing. Just don't see that really being a Gambit thing. Shadows always so calculated in approach. Gonna fall away, keep himself to safety. And we look at what remains. cned and Zeke.
You're creeping through here. Again, alarm bot on the other side. Turret as well, just a little bit deeper. We'll give away the location here. Chronicle's even really going to overextend a little bit, actually. We'll find cned. Second should be a given. Well, as I say that, Zeke sharp with that classic. Only one will fall. Rifle recovered as well.
This is a step-by-step matter for Gambit. There's a couple of key rounds that we'll highlight when we get to them. The buy rounds coming in, a couple of bits and pieces here and there where it can filter through. But this is Gambit's bread and butter, right? This is what we've now known them for, this capability to close back in.
And particularly with the 9-3, you look towards the first buy round, then that first ultimate cycle, right? Which you look towards kind of round 4, 5 potentially. If things go if everything goes Gambit's way, that's when you start getting concerned, because those are the snowballing rounds.
Well, this is the first challenge, I'd say. If you get the bonus, you're laughing. But Gambit are going to stick on what they had. Defo does at least have the rifle. But, I mean, Chronicle's got a Ghost. Spectre's a weak purchase up against the Guardians and the rifles coming out from Acend. So, let's see what the damage looks like for Gambit here. And that is a belter of a start for Defo. Takes a head off of Killers, but a quick culling right back. That's the rifle now lost from Gambit, as cned's mid-presence still going to maintain dominance here.
Again, a good indication as well, it being Keyless. They know this is going to be the weaker side of the setup, but very quickly Acend found a little bit of space. Bone Cold, can he avoid that? I don't actually think he gets spotted there.
I don't think so. Oh, you're playing dangerous games now. Shados is the one closest to the corner, but cned's going to just check him, body check him down. Acend now striding towards the sights. That's going to be pretty much all the danger removed from the site, and not much to really come from it. Nats and Chronicle, this wasn't an invested round, though. If you look at what was coming through that Defo, I mean, yes, he had the rifle. No one else had anything, really.
No. Again, he just wants to make the most of it. If anything, playing much deeper than you'd maybe expect in the bonus, but no real contingency behind that. And nobody covering the possibility that Acend had so many bodies bottom mid. Towards top mid, actually. Zeke will find another. Just one of his ultimate here, so whether or not they try and feed that kill over to Zeke. There will be, actually, yeah. We'll find his third. Acend put their 10th on the board. Gambit now. Again, things almost level out in terms of the round timeline here. That's big for Acend to kind of stop this momentum. Gambit now have to make the most of this buy round.
Yeah, this is when we talk about highlight rounds, key rounds. This is one of them. And obviously Acend know that as well. They're very aware. Now, Gambit didn't go all that in on that last round. I wasn't eyeing it up too much. They seem to be happy to go in against the 10 rounds that will sit in the pocket of Acend with the mere 5 of their own. But this is where it gets down to the nitty-gritty. We look at the op coming out for Defo. We look at the purchase. It's very robust. They're happy enough. Anything special It looks pretty much like a kind of tube and your traditional A piece, which does lean towards Defo as being the front man. He's going to find Zeke for free. Looks for a follow-up. There's no one there quite yet. You can see the vision. Just... oh, that got way too close. And Defo's feeling himself here. Pretty brave to be standing like this. What? Starzo walks in, makes a side his own, and Acend just bursts through. 5 now alive. Zeke back on his feet. And it's Nats and Chronicle, who don't have much territory in this at all. And already look at that push-up. Killer is taking so much room towards that deep CT side.
Again, they've got to consider holding on to this.
That's a save in my mind.
Defo loses the op. There's no Blade Storm available. The next round for Gambit looks awful. Absolutely awful. Acend going to keep 5 alive. I mean, actually, other than Zeke, there's not even shields that need repurchasing here. That is, by the book, the best possible scenario here. Keyless does give one away, but again, I think that's now given Acend everything they need to know. They're saving, guys. Don't even risk anything.
Yeah, you're fine.
It's a bigger loss for Acend to give
Yes.
something away here.
Maybe try, as I said, I don't mind Killers giving it a try, and that's it. You draw the line in the sand there for the economy going forward. I am impressed with Acend at this point. I've got to say, keep in mind, Defo had the first pick, was able to fall away, didn't have an instantaneous trade. But Acend, their spacing looked good, that pressure looked good. I'm seeing that semi-finals form coming right on back through here in the grand finals.
Again, you talk about actually the other factors in here. Yes, they have the lockdown, but okay, Starzo.
Okay.
Just a pixel
Okay.
out of place. And again, the other thing is with Defo, there's no chance for him to dash away. With Zeke obviously popping that null command, there's the sort of round where the death ball around that KO ult is so devastating, especially if somebody, particularly a Jet with an operator, decides to kind of greet that. And it's almost like he's baited in by finding that first one. It's not, they actually stick the res in the open. That's crazy.
And it's forced a timeout out of Gambit here. Maybe to collect themselves, because we talked about pivotal rounds. That was one of them. And it was not a great look from Gambit. They got swept aside there. Honestly, if anything, an incredible look for Acend. They've got to be walking away loving every moment of that, because they've been haunted on this map. They lost their last chance on this map. They got held at a strong lead and couldn't convert it. They got dragged back down, and a team like Gambit can absolutely do that to you. We aren't seeing it here. This is Acend powering forward. And look, they look like a different team. They've grown. I think that's clear to see to anyone who was watching the previous events with Acend. They used to be up and out of their chairs for literally everything. They've chilled it out a bit here.
And again, you talk about one of the big positives for Gambit, it's the composure, right? Me and Sean were having this conversation earlier. Coming away from that series yesterday is so exhausting. And again, with a team like Gambit, again, they start slow. Often they start slow and kind of warm up towards the end of series or towards the end of a map. But coming out of that, it's concerning to see it like this, though. Because Acend, if they have the opportunity to, I guess, just coast through the way that it felt that they did versus Liquid and play their own game, and I mean, everything is going their way right now. Every duel, every rotation pool, it's clinical. Again, actually a much wider spread here on this setup from Acend, but they've already drawn this rotation again. Like I said, Nat's going to be the only one to try and defend a site here. We'll find Keyless, but actually, we'll find Zeke as well. He's going to stop this one before it gets started.
And hey, if Defo can't do it, put Nats on the site and say, all right, bud, we need you to lock this down, otherwise we're done for. Spike left on his side, and the bullet just gives him a haircut. These three looking vicious. cned does find Nats, but not without him finding another body to add to the tally. 2v4 isn't going to be easy. A lot of potential trades favorable as well. cned still going to isolate Defo. And Bone Cold the last one alive, but it's a 1v2. This is far more feasible than it was before. Spike well within grasp, but Chronicle way too aware. Gambit close in again.
And actually, weirdly enough, that becomes a more pivotal round, right? Nat's one of the ones that hold on to that rifle from the previous, and he makes it absolutely worthwhile for Gambit here. Again, you can see right here on the mini-map, Chronicle and Redguard both hitting this rotation. It's a real diligence shown on the side of Nats, and also a couple of kills to boot. Gambit will stabilize here. Again, 5,100 behind this purchase for Acend as well. But again, this is the sort of round again. It's a buy round.
Look at the ults coming through. Gambit aren't far away either.
Well,
you're about to have that cycle hit.
Ult-wise, you want them also to build up the economy buffer here as well. So this first ultimate, I guess full ultimate cycle here for Gambit, absolutely crucial.
Nats was essential before, and he might be again. Redgar and I think Chronicle sitting a little bit deeper. He's going to be forced to relent slightly from that opening peak that he liked to have before. The one player notices they made their way through. So they know the op's already out towards the site here. Redgar going to keep trying to filter that information through. And Acend playing around just the precipice of the site. They haven't quite fully committed yet. And look at these rotations. If they're able to explore the rest of the map, they could find maybe an option. But there were 4 players posted towards this A site.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say a key engagement becomes Keyless and Redgar or Defo here, and actually is able to find an angle through. Nats will be detected on site as well.
Yeah, they've got to hit this site right about now. Chronicle trying to spam away, try and get some chip damage, but Nats is now surrounded. He's got players right, left, center. Ult comes in, and the plant going to be going down as well. Nats actually decides to get aggressive. Oh no, Nats check is always deadly. Chronicle's got his side as well, and now we go into the last player standing. cned, what do you got for us? Anything left in the tank? Absolutely not. It's Nats waiting. His patience pays. Gets the op and gets another round.
And that's a scary one. Again, with
he pushed into that.
Yeah. At that point, traditionally, you'd expect Gambit to go, right, give it up, guys. Let's play strength in numbers. We'll come through. But right there, they get ahead of the curve, ahead of the spike, even comfortably being planted here. I mean, look. One Cold still, I mean, there's 3/4 progress there on the plant. Absolutely insane stuff from Nats. Again, 2 rounds in a row now.
Get out of my way!
They've humbled the money. Acend get kept on 11 for now. Gambit should be able to convert this if all goes to plan, which, hey, there's some pressure coming in through those double doors. And Nats, again, how many times will he be tested? And how many times is he going to succeed? He stands his ground, and he delivers. Nats, again, is refusing to move. He doesn't know when he's dead. And the last player alive is Bone Cold, and they just can't get rid of him. Gambit, 4 stand, and the gap gets smaller.
And we talk about it. This is when you start getting concerned for Acend. When Gambit can build a little momentum, and that's it. They pump the brakes.
Yep, they have to, because if I'm a coach and I'm watching my team get held on 11, I'm getting nervous because I know what happened last time. I've sat here and I've had to watch my team get stuck at this point. You have to address it now, because these site hits are finding nothing. Nats is just running you around. He's making you look silly. They have to find the answer.
I'm not sure what it is, again, with Gambit almost being there to read both of these. Again, that Viper's Pit kind of being invested now implies maybe there's going to be a little variation to the setup. They might move Nats across to another site. Potentially Chronicle going to have a different setup here on the defense, but again, do Acend come back to exploring B now? Do they see a little bit window of opportunity almost with mid, because they came through double doors there, but again, the one player you don't want on the other side of a Cypher cage when you're flashing out of it is Nats, right?
Yeah, it's just stuff of nightmares.
No
when
access to site, right?
None. There's only one site on this map, and it's not where he is. So maybe find another way around. For now, though, this is when all that work and hopefully all that adjustment kicks in.
Well, this is, and again, you look back at the rounds that Acend have won. Have they learnt enough about the setup? And actually, just come back to it here, we see exactly that. Nats and Chronicle now invested towards B site. Now, whether or not Acend are going to poke a little bit on A, maybe not see Nats on the other side of it, and then think that there is an opportunity.
Yeah, but Defo can then overextend a little if he wants to, see if he wants to get a little aggy on that peak.
Operator, Blade Storm, he's a big swing factor in this round.
And he's got Sky with him, right?
They might even try and flash into shot, Bill.
I think that's exactly what we're seeing, which again, removes a couple of options. Angles his. The shot was so close, but he's going to fall away. Defo going to just fall back a little.
But straight away, look.
And this now just falls onto Nats' his lap. He sat there, and this was the whole intention. They are running, they are forcing and herding Acend this way. Now, he's not alone here, though. He does have a teammate with him as well. He will have support on this. It will be Chronicle, the dastardly duo.
This is crazy. Again, just that little bit of aggression forces Acend to consider going elsewhere. They've noted the operator. Redgar's already looking to preempt this rotation. And they're walking into a really awkward setup here on the defense from Gambit.
And now they're like, oh no. Surely not again. Surely this isn't what's happening. Look at the utility smothering them down. Nats is buying time after time. Can they finally take him down? No, they can't. Nats, the immovable object.
No way.
Unbelievable work from Nats. And Acend can't escape him. He's the final boss that they cannot get past.
My
and Gambit have brought the scoreline so close now.
That setup is beautiful. The snake bites, the nano swarm. There's nowhere for cned to dash onto site. There's nothing for him to do. They stall for 3 seconds or so, and at that point, then Gambit like we have the wall. Look at this here. There's literally nowhere for Acend to push into, Lauren.
And this was all tailor-made for him to be there.
It was bespoke for this.
I love this. This is good Valorant, man. This is what it's about. These mind games between the two. The Prime came in flawless. Really just to signify the scenario that Acend are now in. Sheriffs, Frenzies, Light Armor. Can they get anything? Can they find that weakness, that avenue back, that way to remove a player? That ain't gonna be it.
That's the one you don't want to remove at the start of the round. Unless you're Gambit.
Yeah, Gambit fans now.
And Defo looks like he might even follow up on this. We'll hear the orb be retrieved, and look at that. It's the spike noted as well, so lots of information given. He's going to try and find something on the other side of the map. We have to see if he does find success. Meanwhile, Bone Cold and Starzo still staring down the barrel of Defo. Nats does actually deal with that lurk, so again, good indication here. Straight away, he hits this rotation. And they're almost committed here, trying to find something.
I really
Free
like
pickings.
this. It's flawless again from Gambit, who are just striding through. And this is when we talk about their resilience, their capability, not just once or twice, so often to bring these scorelines back.
I'm pretty sure Nats was 12-9. He's now 24-9, which is just the most terrifying prospect ever. And again, like you said, this is literally Gambit setting up Acend. They're baiting them into some of these rounds, and they keep biting. They keep biting.
They don't know what to do to get around it. Timeout comes in from Acend. They need this map. In my mind, it's not just it being a best of 5, additional maps coming into play. It's the mental game.
Map 1 is so huge in a best of 5. It absolutely
100%.
is.
And we already know this about Gambit, and I do want this to be taken really on board, that they are so capable of these comebacks time and time again. Their unwavering faith in the in-game leadership, the coaching, the plan, whatever it is, it's just the resolve is flawless. And Acend have sat there on 11. And they have not gotten...
For a while.
Yes, they have not gotten close. And if there was any other map as well, any other scenario, I wouldn't be as worried because it's a best of 5. But my mind does go back to that 100 Thieves game that we were mentioning earlier, where they got stuck on a scoreline very similar to this and could not get over the finish.
No, they really couldn't. In terms of closing out, it's huge versus a team like Gambit. Because, like I said, if they find momentum, it's so difficult to overcome. Because you come back to the things we discussed. Actually, Acend were doing well on the defense. The variation, everything that Gambit are able to do on the defense, it's almost like you get to round 6 or 7 and you're back on your second or third buy round and you think, okay, well, do we actually know what the setup's like? What are the indicators that we can kind of adapt to? And Acend have none of that right now. Again, they play deep enough once again to basically negate Zeke's early round utility. And they'll lean back towards what feels like looking for a pick, but set up here from Gambit, they're not going to give one away.
Let's say they continue to explore through elbow, up middle. It's going to be Nats again, isn't it? Maybe a quick lean comes in from someone like Defo, or, I don't know, Redgar comes across, who knows. But at this point, once again, they look towards B.
Interesting thing here will be if they can make use of this utility ahead of null command. There you go. Actually, it's popped straight away and immediately see the nano swarm to try and buy a little bit of time. And Chronicle will find it.
But he pushes into this. The confidence is just uncontestable. And Nats is the back line, and he is not going to fall away. Nats has just destroyed them. You can't run and you can't hide. Nats is right there every single time.
I can't believe they've just done it again. That's a 5-man hit that Chronicle and Nats are able to completely shut down with the null command. like I said, there's a window of opportunity where you have to make use of this utility ahead of the execute, right? Particularly, we talk about, this just comes down to gunfights, right?
And look at the synergy between these two players.
Chronicle bails out, and Nats is like, cool, I'll pick up the slack.
Buddy.
Yep.
I'm right there. And you can see it between them. In perfect synergy in the switch up. And again, Nats is on the A side. He's everywhere they want to be. This is literally like a nightmare. They don't know how to get away from him. A quick underhand flash, but look at this Bulldogs. Light armor. They don't even have the full kit and caboodle. They're working with less. An aggressive posture as well from Defo. He's taking space elsewhere.
And again, if they note this, if Defo finds a kill, it's going to force them back towards the site they don't want to hit.
And I love how they're using this, though. Defo on one side, taking a bit of space. We saw it with the flash
so
before.
much map control here.
And now, let's see if he can keep this sort of presence, though, because it's tricky. He could get punished. And actually gets away with his life, luckily and surprisingly. 35 HP, can filter away, doesn't get punished for it. Shados there just to try and facilitate that escape plan if he needs it. And, well, they've decided maybe B's the site to go to, as that's where the op is, I guess.
Again, Wall not invested yet from Starzo. He's got his Viper's Pit, so it looks like they are leaning towards a B hit once again. Again, they're very cautious. They're trying to figure out where Defo's repositioned to. Keyless might even try and bait a little contact here in double doors.
Yeah, but they've got an early rotation as well. Chronicle's coming over, and I quite like that. Defo's got himself popping out the ult. Nat still finds one! No matter what they do, Acend can't do anything! They are left without an answer. And it is just a clean sweep from Gambit. 5 alive, Bone Cold presented the impossible, tries to make it happen, and Gambit take the lead from Acend.
Without breaking a sweat. Honestly, some of these rounds are just, they're played so well. And like you said, the synergy in the buddy system that Gambit's able to invest around Chronicle and Nats so often. Again, Chronicle, he's so sharp, and he has been the last few days. Again, you think back to that ace on Bind, and wow, I'm speechless. Acend once again now staring down the barrel. I've got to say it, fumbling a big lead on Breeze.
Yes, absolutely. And half of me, you know, you do have to look a little bit towards what Acend are doing wrong, but it's so hard to take it away from what Gambit are doing so right. Nats and Chronicle, to me, this duo is just undeniable brilliance in every aspect of it. Defo, again, has the Seekers to set him up. You can have the ult coming in. Nothing seems possible for Acend.
Well, Viper's Pit, A site. Nats is going to hold on to that here, whether or not see Gambit readjust. Look how deep Defo is once again.
Now that's a good pick, though. Zeke finding Chronicle's actually pretty important. Maybe this is a chance. I say that with this man still lingering around. And Defo's still exploring deeper and deeper, finding new ways, and if they keep leaning back this way, it's a very real possibility he catches one of these players. It looks like he's going to spot Keyless pretty soon, and he does. He finds Keyless, and oh, he just caught a glimpse of a second. 100% confirmation that they were eyeing up this side of the map. He can fall away and buy a lot of time. They don't have to over-rotate.
Well, again, the fact that it's Keyless on, like, knowing how Keyless plays, you see here, Shados actually doubles down. So it looks like Acend still want to try and navigate their way past this Viper's Pit onto A.
Good luck. Because we know who's there. Redgar this time holds across. cned finds one. Redgar sprays in. He gets one connection, but it's still going to be Nats, who finally gets denied by Starzo. There's a chance! And he gets ripped away, Redgar! It's 10 seconds! It's over! 13-11! The nightmare resurfaces for Acend and Gambit. What a turnaround! From that halftime score, they looked flat. It looked all perfect for Acend. And then, once again, the Iron Giants made their appearance.